It's such a catchy tune, isn't it, eh? And it just gets me up and going on a Friday at 8:30. It's the theme tune for Free Speech Fridays, where we find a couple of free-speaking Kiwis, put them on the platform and discuss the issues of the week. I'm really looking forward to this week's session, as I always do. Joining us, my favourite German immigrant, Oliver Hartwich from the New Zealand Initiative. Oliver, he loves Ireland, Oliver, but he is a New Zealander at heart. Oliver, lovely to have you with us, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Sean. Great to be with you.
All right, and from New Zealand First, and I noticed him really embarrassing himself doing some sort of rap video, campaign video, that even if he was 30, he would be too old to do, but at least he's giving it a crack. He's on the campaign trail for New Zealand First. Candidate for Northland, Shane Jones. How are you, Shane?
It's the land of parody and satire.
All right, okay, no. Did it go viral? No, it didn't, did it?
Certainly not as extensive as my first effort.
All right. One thing we do have to look forward to, perhaps, Shane, is a wonderful national tax policy, or they managed to convince most of the country of that this week, I think. It was well released, the timing was good, and the figures looked good, didn't they? Well,
the trick here is to ensure that if the country does lurch towards the ACT Party and the woolliness of Nicola and Luxon, whether or not the figures stack up. I tell you what caught my attention. In order to make the figures stack up, you're going to have to increase the number of relatively expensive houses you sell to foreigners, in particular Chinese. Yeah. Or you're going to have to deploy and weaponize the skills of our spy service to check on people using the Sky City Casino.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah. None of us can afford the big mansions anyway, so I think that's pretty easy, Shane.
No. New Zealand First is and I've always been very much a doubting Thomas as to how extensively you should let in foreign buyers into the housing market.
All right. Oliver, do you think their tax policy is a winner? And to be honest, I don't think anyone in reality believes that any of the figures stack up. It's an aspirational goal, the tax policy.
Well, let's put it this way. Politically, it might well be a winner because it got decent coverage this week, and commentators left, right, and centre seem to be quite happy with it. Yeah. I mean, when even Bernard Hickey praises National, and you know that
this would be a widely popular policy. I didn't know.
Bernard Hickey said, actually, this would make it really hard for Labour and the Greens to attack the policy, and frankly, I can see why, because this is the kind of policy that Labour could have issued itself. Mm. The thing is, actually, if you go through the details, they don't make sense, too many of them at least. So take that foreign buyers tax, 15%. The same party, National, that likes to talk about getting more foreign direct investment into the country, now wants to slap the managers of these foreign investors with a several $100,000 tax on arrival if they buy a property. And if they don't want to buy a $2 million property, well, then they would be banned from buying anything whatsoever. So this is the same party that wants to increase FDI, that has a tax policy on property for foreigners that completely goes against their other ambitions. So that doesn't make sense. Apart from that, the tax indexation, I think that's a good idea to index taxes, but has anyone looked into the details? They're only getting the tax brackets up to where they should have been in 2017 at the end of the Key English government. Yeah. And so that completely misses the burst of inflation we've had over the last 6 years, and effectively, compared with Key English, this is a tax increase.
Mm. Where's your tax policy, Shane? What's that? New Zealand First would have a comprehensive costed tax policy, wouldn't it?
Manifesto's due out soon. Winston released 3 things: a handsome depreciation schedule to expedite capital productivity. Secondly, it's one thing we do agree, which is an improvement to the adjustments, and our desire to tackle the cost of living, certainly with food, with a range of items exempt from GST.
Oh, God, are you going to go down that? Everyone hates that idea, Shane. Everyone.
I'm repeating to you what our leader has already announced. There'll be other tax measures that one thing we'll never do and we'll never agree with is the green idea of spending $10-20 billion in buying international credit.
So, but you're going to go down this universally the universally hated idea of exempting certain things from GST, right? No one likes it. Even Grant Robertson doesn't like it. And he's the Minister of Finance.
I reckon Grant's going to... I think Grant Robertson's going to start to fire up. He's sort of been somewhat soporific over the last 9 months, but I did detect a willingness in his gait and his style in the House the other day to give it all over the next 6 weeks. So I dare say he's dreaming up a witch's brew to try and...
well, he's making up nasty names about Nicola Willis, isn't he?
Oh, well, it's part of the political banter and theatre, mate.
Isn't it? Is it? I thought it was terrible when we called Jacinda Ardern Cindy. We were all misogynist haters.
Mate, I'm from Kaitai. On a regular basis, your neighbours are called worse things.
Oh, look, I have to ask you, Tangatiroria. Do you know Tangatiroria?
Tangatiroria, yeah, between Whangarei and Dargaville.
Is it a ghost town?
Yeah, it's bugger all there. It's where the Wesleyans set up their early mission. The Catholics had a row with them, and I think not far from there, our leader, Winston Peters, or it might have been Tangawahine, used to milk cows along with his family.
Okay, I like the place less and less as we go on. Sorry, that was a complete aside.